Have you ever been around one of those leaders who just has it? You know the type. They walk into a room and everything just seems to lock into place. Well, what if I told you that it factor isn't magic? Today we are pulling back the curtain and breaking down the 5 pillars of charismatic leadership, all based on the fantastic framework from Kevin Murray. This is a science, not a superpower, and you're about to learn the formula.
Okay, so let's get right into it. When I say the word charisma, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it just being super charming, or having one of those big magnetic personalities that just draws people in? Maybe it's about having a powerful, commanding presence. And yeah, those things are definitely part of the picture, but they're not the whole story. The real definition, as we're about to find out, is so much deeper and way more powerful.
All right, first things first, we have to bust the biggest myth out there. For so long, we've been sold this idea that charisma is like winning some kind of genetic lottery. You've either got it or you don't. But the truth, and the entire reason we're doing this explainer, is that that's just not true. Charisma is not a gift, it is a skill. It's a specific set of behaviors that anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn, practice, and master.
Okay, let this one sink in, because this quote right here is the absolute heart of it all. True charisma isn't about you putting on a performance to make everyone think you're incredible. It's about turning the spotlight around and helping the people around you find their own greatness. It's a fundamental mind shift from, hey, look at me, to, hey, look at what we can all do together.
Hey, just a real quick pause. If you're already feeling pumped up about this and getting value out of it, could you do us a huge favor? Go ahead and hit that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. It genuinely helps our channel grow and lets us make more in-depth explainers just like this one. We really appreciate it.
Okay, here's our game plan. We've talked about what charisma really is. Now we're going to break down the 5 pillars that it's built on. We've got authenticity, personal power, warmth, motivation, and rounding it all out, persuasion. So let's jump in.
First up, pillar number 1, radical authenticity. You can think of this as the absolute foundation for everything else. Why? It's simple. Without authenticity, you can't have trust. And if you don't have trust, you have absolutely nothing as a leader. This is the bedrock that allows all the other pillars to even exist.
And check this out, because this chart shows a huge, and I mean huge, disconnect. So you have leaders over here thinking, yeah, I'm authentic, I'm self-aware. But then when their employees were asked the same question, look at this, only about a quarter of them agreed. That means a staggering 75% of employees are looking at their bosses and thinking they lack self-awareness. And guess what? That translates directly to a lack of trust.
So how do we start building that real authenticity? Well, it boils down to 3 key actions. First, just be honest. Be humble enough to admit when you've messed up. Seriously, admitting a mistake doesn't make you look weak. It makes you look human. It builds trust because it shows you value integrity more than your ego. Second, you've got to define your personal mission. Know your core values inside and out. When you're clear on what you stand for, your team is too, and they can act with confidence. And third, be present and transparent. When things get tough, don't disappear. The best leaders show up, especially for the hard conversations.
Okay, on to our second pillar, which builds right on top of that authentic foundation, your personal power. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Power can sound a little aggressive, right? Like some ruthless executive, but that is not what we're talking about. This is about projecting a quiet inner confidence, a sense of stability that makes people feel secure and want to follow you, especially when things get chaotic.
Now, we can break this personal power down into 2 parts. First, there's the physical. Your team is constantly picking up cues from your posture, your expression, your body language. If you look stressed and defeated, that energy is contagious. Projecting stability is about signaling calm and control. And then there's the mental power. This is your internal operating system, your mindset, your resilience, your optimism. This is about being the person who doesn't just see problems, but actively looks for solutions.
So how do we build up that mental power? Here are 3 ways to do it. First, you've got to cultivate a leadership mindset. That means erasing I can't from your vocabulary and replacing it with I'll find a way. Second, learn to reframe things. That tough client meeting you're dreading, it's not a threat. It's an incredible opportunity to learn and improve. And third, you have to actively work to maintain optimism. A great way to do this is to run an energy assessment. Just ask your team, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's our energy? And then, what's one thing we can do to get it up a point? It's simple, but it gets everyone involved in lifting the mood.
Moving on to pillar number 3. This is what turns a collection of individuals into a real team. It's the power of warmth. This is all about forging genuine human connections. It's about showing your team that you see them as whole people, not just as numbers on a spreadsheet or cogs in a machine. And if you're thinking, oh great, I'm an introvert, this isn't for me, let me tell you the story of Lois. She was the CEO of an agency and a self-described introvert, but she knew how critical connection was. So she made a commitment. For 45 minutes every single morning, she walked the office and just talked to her 60 employees, not just about work, but about their lives, their families. She made a conscious choice to learn how to project warmth, and it made all the difference.
This brings us to a really cool concept called your emotional signature. Think about it. It's the feeling you leave people with after they talk to you. Do they walk away feeling energized, listened to, and optimistic? Or do they walk away feeling drained, stressed out, and a little smaller? That signature you leave behind has a direct impact on your team's morale and creativity.
So, want to improve that emotional signature? Here are 3 super simple but incredibly powerful things you can do. Number 1, the listening contract. This means when someone is talking, your only job is to understand them, not to just wait for your turn to speak. Number 2, ask for help. Bringing your team into decisions shows them you trust their judgment and value their ideas. And number 3, this one is so easy, use people's names. It seems small, but it has a massive effect on making people feel seen and respected.
All right, let's keep building. On to pillar number 4, driving motivation. Let's be honest, a paycheck is a reason for people to show up, but it's rarely a reason for them to give their all. People are hungry for a purpose, for a reason to care that goes way beyond just hitting a quarterly target. And a great leader knows how to tap into that. The best organizations do this so well. They have a purpose that is both simple and incredibly powerful. I mean, look at these examples. TED isn't just in the business of conferences. Their purpose is spreading ideas. Tesla isn't just making electric cars. They exist to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. See that? It gives every single task, no matter how small, a sense of meaning. And this works in any setting. Take the story of Sally, an HR manager who inherited a department that was completely failing. Morale was just in the gutter. So what did she do? She created a culture built on a shared purpose of constant learning. She was always gathering new ideas from everyone, her team, clients, even competitors. And the key was she immediately shared everything she learned with the whole team. This got everyone rowing in the same direction. The result? In just 18 months, they went from being the worst performing department to the most profitable in the whole company. That's motivation.
And that brings us to our 5th and final pillar. This is the one that really ties everything else together. It's the art of persuasion. This is the skill that lets you take all that trust, power, warmth, and motivation you've built and actually turn it into coordinated, decisive action. This is how you get people to move forward together.
But look, persuasion isn't just about giving some big rah-rah speech. It's about the day-to-day conversations. And these numbers show just how much leaders struggle with this. More than half of managers in the UK and a staggering 70% in the US admit that they actively avoid having tough performance conversations. To be a great leader, you have to master persuasion in these crucial one-on-one moments. So, what's the secret to being persuasive without being manipulative? It comes down to 3 things. First, you have to make an emotional impact. Facts are fine, but stories are what move people. Share a personal story that illustrates a value you hold. Second, always have a clear goal. Before you even open your mouth, know exactly what you want the outcome of the conversation to be. And third, you have to state the benefits. You must answer everyone's unspoken question, what's in it for me? When people understand how the vision benefits them personally, they'll be on board.
So there you have it, the 5 pillars that create charismatic leadership. You see how they stack, right? It all starts with authenticity, which builds trust. That allows you to project personal power and stability. You use warmth to connect with people on a human level. Then unite them with motivation and a shared purpose. And finally, you inspire action through the art of persuasion.
Okay, I know that was a lot to take in. So if you're wondering, where do I even begin? Here is one simple, powerful action you can take tomorrow. First, set a challenging but definitely achievable goal for your team. And second, this is the most important part, when they nail it, celebrate that win publicly and with real, genuine enthusiasm. The research shows this literally releases feel-good chemicals in their brains that build trust and supercharge their motivation for the next challenge. It's a total win-win.
So, the big takeaway here is that charisma is totally within your grasp. It isn't some magical mystery. It's a skill, and you can start building it one pillar at a time. So my final question to you is this. Looking back at these 5 pillars, Which one are you going to start working on tomorrow? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really excited to see what you choose. Thanks for watching.